Okay, we are going to go over approximately 3 or 4 problems of solving systems by substitution. Okay, in problem number 1, you have a system of y equals 3x plus 1 and 4x plus y equals 8. Now, I'm going to go ahead and kind of recall that in step 1 you have to isolate one of the variables. Well, if you notice right here in this equation, we have the y by itself. So now, what I like to do is I like to write both equations side by side. So I have y equals 3x plus 1. Let me make that an x. And then I have 4x plus y equals 8. Now recall, I've already got this variable by itself. So I'm going to take this right here, I'm going to substitute it in for y. So it goes right here. So I get 4 times x plus, remember whenever you substitute you put a parentheses. So parentheses and then equals 8. I'm going to take 3x plus 1 and put it in place of y. Now there is an understood 1 in front of here. So 1 times this entire thing is just itself. So 1 times 3x is 3x, 1 times 1 is 1. So when I write this out, I get 4x plus 3x plus 1 equals 8. Now I'm on the same side, so I'm going to combine like terms. So 4x plus 3x is 7x plus 1 equals 8. I'm then going to subtract 1 from both sides. The ones cancel. I'm left with 7x equals 7. When I divide both sides by 7, I get x equals 1. So far, I've got the x value of my solution. Now, we're going to go full circle. We're going to take this answer and we're going to go plug it back in to this equation. So, I'm going to have y equals 3. In place of x, I'm going to put the 1. And then plus 1. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1, and I get y is equal to 4, and therefore that is the y value, and this is my solution, 1 comma 4. Now you could go back and double check if you plug in into the first equation. Let me go ahead and minimize this. So I'm going to take this first equation right here. I'm going to plug in a 4 for y equals 3 times, and I'm going to plug in a 1 plus 1. 4 equals 3 plus 1, and 3 plus 1 is 4. And notice how that checks out. I'm now going to bring down this equation, 4. Remember, the x value is 1, and then the y value is 4. And it has the equal 8. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 4 equals 8. And you end up with 8 equals 8, and that also works out. So therefore, 1, 4 is a solution. Now, in this problem, notice x is already solved for itself. In the previous problem, we had y equals. So I have these two equations of 2x minus 3y equals negative 1. And I have x equals y plus 1. Because I have x isolated by itself, or I've solved for x, I can now take y plus 1, this part right here, and I'm going to plug it in for x. So that I have 2 times y plus 1 minus 3y equals negative 1. That's the first substitution. I'm now going to distribute because it's 2 times y plus 1, so I get 2y. 2 times 1 is 2. Bring down everything else because I'm not doing anything with it yet. Now I have to look for and combine like terms. Here's a 2y and a negative 3y. Those combine to give me negative 1y. Bring down your plus 2. Alright, bring that down. And then equals negative 1. I'm then going to subtract 2 from both sides. I get negative y is equal to negative 3. Now remember, you have a negative y. You can't have a negative y, so I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 1. Alright. That negative 1 cancels out that negative because negative times negative is a positive. I get y equals, and then, let me fix that. Negative 3 times negative 1 is a positive 3. So now my solution, I have a 3 for the y value. Now I have to find the x. I'm going to plug it back in to this equation here. So x equals y plus 1. I'm now going to plug in the 3 for the y. X equals 3 plus 1, and I get x equals 4. And that right there is my solution. In this third problem, I want you to notice that neither x nor y has been solved for. They each have a number other than 1 in front of them, so we have to do that for it. So we've got to go solve for x or solve for y. Now, I'm going to write both of them down. So I'm going to take this first one, minus 3x minus 4y equals 2. I'm going to take this one, I'm going to solve for the variable. It doesn't matter x or y. 3x plus 3y equals negative 3. I'm going to go ahead and solve, I'm going to get rid of the 3x, so minus 3x on both sides. That's gone. I'm left with 3y equals negative 3x and then minus 3. I'm then going to divide both sides, everything by 3 to get the y by itself. And I end up getting y equals, negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1x. And then negative 3 divided by 3 is a negative 1. Now, I have y equals negative x minus 1. So like I said, I'm using this equation here. I can now substitute y right there. So I get negative 3x minus 4, parentheses. This goes in the place of y. So negative x minus 1, and then of course bring down your equals 2. Okay, I'm going to distribute that 4. I get negative 3x. Negative 4 times negative x is a positive 4x. Negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4 equals 2. I then have to combine like terms. So a negative 3x and a positive 4x is x. Bring down everything else. X plus 4 equals 2. Subtract the 4. And I get x equals negative 2. Now, since I've already solved for y over here, I'm going to go plug that in because this is, remember it says my revised equation. So y equals negative. Be careful when you substitute that back in, it is a negative negative. So there's my negative 2 and then minus 1. A negative negative 2 is a positive 2 minus 1. Now my y value is just 1. So if you notice, that is what we have as far as a coordinate point. So negative 2 is the x, 1 is the y, and that is my solution to the system. Finally, in this last problem, notice how simple this equation looks. If I have negative x plus y equals 3, I'm going to solve for the y value because when I move the x over to the other side, it becomes positive. So I end up getting the x's cancel out. I get y equals 3 plus x or x plus 3. It doesn't matter which order you put it in. Now, here are my equations. Negative 3x plus 3y equals 4. And this is my new equation of y equals 3 plus x. Remember, that's this equation right here. Okay, now I'm going to substitute in for y. And I end up getting negative 3x plus 3 times. Put in your 3 plus x and bring down your equals 4. Distribute, you get negative 3x. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times x is 3x equals 4. Now, don't be afraid, and I want you to notice what happens. When you combine the like terms, negative 3x plus 3x cancel out. Go ahead and write down what you have left over. Bring down the 9 equals 4. And you have to ask yourself, when does 9 equal 4? Well, we have discussed this before. 9 will never equal 4. Therefore, we can say that this is no solution, because at no point in time can 9 ever equal 4.